This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon and welcome to a cool, calm and pretty overcast Djuma in South Africa, where the temperature is apparently, I don't believe it, 26 degrees Celsius, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. I have got a jacket on and, well, we are looking at a beautiful little family of gnus, wildebeest. Some babies of the season. Good afternoon, my name is Steve and I'm joined once again, finally, after many months, by Senzo Three Fingers Mkeys. Welcome everybody, you know the drill. We are live and we're interactive on #SafariLive. We'd love to hear from you on the Twitter as well as on the YouTube chat stream. But straight over to our wildebeest. Last year, I remember, or last season, when I started in January, there were 7 young wildebeest calves to the herd that hung around here on the quarantine open area that we have here. And, well, now there are only 2, but there were a larger group of females last time. Well, that was until the Nkuhuma Pride made short work of a few of them. But these little youngsters are very small. They are brand spanking new, probably only born in the last few weeks. Puma, it is always amazing to see a new life, and Scott Dyson and Tristan, I believe, last year managed to film wildebeest reproduction, so the birthing of some youngsters. So it's really special to be able to see these 2, and, well, this whole family here is going to be loving the rain that has fallen. I cannot tell you how much. It's been falling sporadically all over the place, and there are roads in and out of the reserve that are completely underwater, and, well, it hasn't been that much over here, but anyway, the spattering of rain that we've had will benefit the grass layer, and that is what the wildebeest down here in South Africa absolutely love. They like feeding on the new greenest shoots that are coming through, and that is why they breed this time of year, so as to provide the necessary nourishment for the production of milk for their ever-growing little ones. I have no doubt we'll probably see another 1 or 2. They are good. Okay, so there's 2 adults there, definitely with the calves. And then to the left is another adult, and then a youngster. So everyone's saying welcome back to Senzo. He's very happy to be back, just in time to jump on the vehicle and zoom out. I don't even think he's managed to check his bags. But anyway, another friend of mine is out on safari. He is not far away. He's also braving what could be some more rain.
You can see that the rain is building at the moment. We might get some storm at any time from now. A very good afternoon and welcome to the beginning of the afternoon safari. This is Sydney Pumuran Mikosi and I am traveling with Dave, who is my camera operator this afternoon. We are going to be looking for some interesting animals for you, and while out there you can talk to us. We are highly available. Just follow us on Twitter #SafariLive. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. My plan this afternoon is to look for a general game as it is raining. Let's just expect unexpected. So the rain has just stopped about a few hours ago, and hopefully we might find some fresh tracks. All the tracks that I'm going to find on the ground now are going to be fresh. Oh, look at our first big animal. I saw a little bit of a spot of an elephant somewhere deep in the thick bushes there. So you can see there we've got the elephant. It's not shy to come out during the rain. So don't get surprised every time when seeing the poles. My vehicle has got the roof at the moment, as I indicated that the rain is promising. When the rain is promising, we have to look after this very sensitive equipment. So now I have got the elephants in the middle of the bushes there. I can only see one from here where I am, and I'm sure the elephants are loving this kind of weather, as it is very much chilly at the moment, not hot at all. I'm not expecting the elephants to have quite a lot of mud on them to prevent sunburn this afternoon. So you can see these elephants are just there, but now the elephant got disappeared. Let me just try and move forward. Maybe we will find some of the head members. So now, as I am going down towards the Galago pen, let's go back to Steve, who's got my favorite animal.
This is indeed Sydney's favorite animal, and well, I'm going to have to step in and interfere with Mother Nature, because this poor little dung beetle has rolled its dung ball into a puddle created by the road. There is a second dung beetle waiting on the wings, hoping to maybe, I don't know, mate with this one or steal the ball, I don't know. But I'm going to do the good Samaritan thing and just help the poor dung beetle get out of the mud. Poor thing, I've probably never seen a puddle like this in its life. It's like the Red Sea. Sorry, little fella, let's get you out of there before your dung ball gets too inundated with water. There we go. Now let's see if he... See how he's frozen? He's playing that like... Okay, he's looking happy. Are you going to start moving? His friend is coming. There could either be a battle or a mating session. First he's cleaning his face. So the dung beetle is actually attracted to the dung by mites that live on their body, on their face. And there's long stories everybody knows about dung beetles being introduced to Australia, and well, they basically quarantined them and like sprayed them or cleaned them to prevent any other parasites or pests coming with the dung beetles into Australia, who's had a history of problems with all sorts of organisms that have come in and caused really, really terrific consequences there for the conservation. And so anyway, what they realized is by introducing them and quarantining them, all the mites that were in... Oh, this fellow, he's come and taken over the ball. The other guy doesn't seem to know. So by quarantining them, by what's the word? By sterilizing them, for a better word, what the dung beetle ended up becoming was essentially a knight in shining armor, but without the oil to allow the joints to move. So the mites actually facilitate movement in the body and allow the dung beetle to find and locate food. So without them, the dung beetle is pretty much just a exoskeleton. Are you going to compete for your dung ball? Heart emojis are coming through. Is that because we think there's a little bit of love in the air with these two dung beetles? Well, what's possibly happened here is this one is just completely lost. There we go. Off he goes. Now, you made that dung ball for somebody, and now he's just going to fly off. That's quite incredible. This one is now going to take it away from wherever it's come from. And it's very likely come from impala dung. There's lots of impala dung around at the moment. Very, very wet, very, very sort of easy to maneuver. Look at that 4x4 action, or should I say 6x6, able to push something that's probably many, many times heavier than this little individual, able to push it away and then to go and bury it. It's quite an amazing process. The spade-like face, shovel nose face, designed to bury the dung in the ground. Look at that. Whole body is great. It's now navigating. Yes, it is a celebratory roll out of the road and back into the natural part where it should be. Well, very, very good. We'll leave this dung beetle to its rolling, and hopefully I don't pull a Taylor McCurdy over here in this mud puddle. Taylor, if you're watching, you're well missed. Just steady, steady. Oh, Josh, that's a great question. They reckon there's about 650 dung beetles in South Africa. I think about 6,000 in the world. And at any one stage in one pile of buffalo dung, elephant dung, you could potentially find 600. So I don't know how many species are here, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, the insect books that we have these days aren't very sort of area specific. There's lots of work going in. But we do see, we definitely characterize them into sort of 4 classes, being the telecoprids, the ones like that roll the dung away. The paracoprids, you think of a parachute, they bury it inside of the the ground or the midden, and then the endocoprids, which live inside the balls themselves. And then lastly, there's the kleptos. They steal, the kleptocoprids, they steal the balls from others, and that might have been a klepto that stole it off there, or it might be a couple working in unison. He got tired, he got a bit stranded there in that mud wallow, in that puddle, and maybe she said, go get another ball, I'll sort this out, because he made a mess of things there. Some human intervention. So that's about as deep as we will go with regards to getting involved with Mother Nature, but that was just a poor little beetle stuck in the water. But anyway, just up here is where we left Osana this morning, and we're going to go up to David in the Mara on the search for cats.
A very good afternoon and warm welcome to the Mara Triangle in Kenya. And talking of small little beetles, we are now talking of very big cats. And these big cats here have been known once in a while to eat the same beetles. Lions, being carnivores, more often than not, they'll always browse and scavenge on anything that has protein in it. Now, this is their Ololo pride, and my name is David, and on camera is Bungei. Bungei, a very good afternoon. Some very good news. Just like Senzo in South Africa, Bungei resumed work last night. And Bungei, a very warm welcome, Bungei. We're very excited to have you back, Bungei. You've been away at home and hope you have been doing some good things. You'll need to tell us at one point what you've been doing. How long have you been home, Bungei? 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Bungei has been home for a whole 21 days, which is a lot of time to be at home, and I'm sure he has come back full of energy. Now, the pride we're watching now here is called the Olololo pride, and this to me looks like a mother and almost a very big youngster. So the one on the right is a young male. You can see the mane coming out, and the one to the left of your screen is definitely a fully grown female, who I would guess could be the mother. Not 100% sure. It could be a 90, it could be, but I'm guessing that could be the mother. I'm sure Steve and my other friends in South Africa must have told you, we do a very interactive safari. So should you have any questions or any comments, please send them through. Bungei, everybody has welcomed you, and everybody's excited to have you back, just like Senzo. So, do you have any questions or any comments? Please send them through using hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Pretty warm day for me. I think this is one of the warmest days we have had here for the last 3 weeks. 81 degrees Fahrenheit and about 27 degrees Celsius for those who like using a metric system. Well, I want to watch out and find out if these cats are going to wake up, if they don't continue baying flat. And as they continue waiting, I'll take you back to South Africa, to my friend, Sydney.
So you can see that the elephants, they are still here where we have just spotted them, and one of them is trying to get some greener pastures, and he has just been displaying some of the uses of his tusks as he was pushing off some of the branches from the road, making use of his tusks. So those tusks, they have got various tusks in order for these elephants to eat. They use the tusk in order to debug the trees, and they use the tusk in order to fight, in order to dig as well. So they do fight other elephants. And apart from that, elephants, they also fight some of the predators trying to stalk their little ones. It's quite a very big animals. And when irritated, they can tend to be very dangerous. So there's more elephants coming from that direction. You can see the trunk as well there, which also serve for quite a very important purpose. This tusk is the one which helps the animals in order to grab the leaves when they're eating. It's like a hand, and again it helps to collect water. Look at that, the beautiful two tusks. I don't know if this one is right-handed or left-handed. Elephants, their tusks they work more like ours. Oh, that is quite a beautiful sighting now. Look at that. This is quite a big head. At the beginning, and only so few, but look at those elephants coming there. That's a big one. So the one in front, I must check well. It looks pregnant, the one which is now walking much more towards us. That one is looking heavily pregnant. I can see from a distance. So the elephants, their gestation period is approximately 22 months. So that is why when they've got babies, they can be very much angry. They don't want anything to come near their little ones because of that longevity of their period of pregnancy. Gary, the elephants, they do sometimes conflict with the other herbivores, but normally you will see that elephants, when they are conflicted with the other ones, the other animals, they do just respect elephants and they move away. So you can see that this elephant is just passing by here, and a lot of them are still coming to pass by. So there is a very small baby coming right in front here. Look at that. You will see. Ooh, this is cute. Look at that baby. Look at that. This is so beautiful. Look at the trunk. The little one is trying to show off here. So these are the little ones which makes these adult elephants very aggressive during their presence. Because sometimes little ones, they just play towards the vehicles and the adults get worried. Look at that. This is a very nice and close sighting of the little one. The little one is trying to run very quickly following the mother. I'm sure they... Fuma, this is indeed a very tiny elephant. Look, they are all heading towards the waterhole. It's quite a big head. Look at that now. They're just everywhere. So they're just about 250 meters away from the Galago pen. I am going to follow them and see what they're going to do there when they get to the waterhole, because I know, look at the little one is trying to... The little one is hooked there by those branches. So I'm sure the little one have seen maybe the big one sometimes trying to get rid of the parasite, make use of these branches. They are so very much quiet. Giraffe girl, I can promise you that that little one is less than 2 months. It is still a very small one. So that's why now the little one is still under a very strong scrutiny by the adults. They are so very much silent. These elephants are not making any noise. So when the elephants are walking, you must check. Here by the legs, they've got some kind of shock absorbers. They don't make any noise. Now I'm just going to pull and get to the galago so that we can see them drinking. Corsex, African elephants, there is quite a lot of rules here in South Africa specifically which restrict these wild animals from doing the domestic work. Yes, in South Africa, there is some of the elephants which has been trained in order to conduct circus, but these days I can promise you the rules protecting these wild animals, they are very much strict, which is something very good. So these animals belong to the wild and they must have to remain wild. Never too late. The wind, it doesn't really make these kind of animals nervous at all, because these animals, they like it when it's windy elephants, because then they can simply identify the problems. Just from the wind, they can be able to tell who is coming and from which direction. So they can get quite a whole lot of information about the presence of the other different species in the area. So now let's quickly go back to Steve and see how Steve's game drive is doing.
Thanks, sitters. Well, we went to the last place. We had left the little chief Osana this morning, and well, as I anticipated, he wasn't there. So there are lots of impala tracks on top of the rain, and no leopard tracks on top of the rain. So he probably moved off before the rain happened. We left him at about 8 o'clock, and the rain really started coming down about 8:45-ish, up until about 11, 12 o'clock. Kind of been having rain. So if he moved before the rain, it's quite difficult to find the tracks because the ground actually gets sort of washed That's the beautiful thing about rainfall, is it washes the ground and brings everything new. So you can work out fresh tracks, because when they're on top of the rain, you know when the rain fell. Jackie, offhand, I don't. I'm going to have to find out from the Vuitella managers. They keep a record that side, but I don't think it was enormous amounts. I mean, the ground is not that wet. It was nice. It cooled everything down. I've got a jacket on. Senzo thinks it's been cold like this all week. He has no idea how we've been struggling. He's smiling there. Senzo, you do it right in the heat, don't you? You don't do well in the cold. He doesn't like either. Senzo just wants to be in the middle. He just wants to take it easy, hey, Senzi? So anyway, we had Hassan on the other side of the drainage line here, and it's a very tricky drainage line to track in, but if he came out on the other side and we get some tracks on the road, we're going to see if we can find him. But what also happens though after the rainfall is, well, the need for animals to move to go and get water is kind of completely taken away, and they can all just hang out where they are because they can drink the water practically off the vegetation. And so that means absolutely anything could be absolutely anywhere. So the mindset of let's check the water points is doesn't work now. I mean, it could work, but I don't think we're going to have the same success as on warm days. But the good news is, because it's cool, anything could be moving now as well. We could have cats moving, you could have wild dogs coming in, could have cheetah just materializing out of nowhere, could have lions hunting. You have no idea what could come about. But one animal that seemingly is never done playing or moving about, rain, shine. We don't get snow, but if there was, it'd probably be in that too. Sydney is still with his elephants.
So I can see that the elephants are now moving much more towards the eastern side of the reserve. They came to the Galago pen by the water hole, and surprisingly they did not drink at all. All they are doing is just passing, going much more towards the eastern side. So some of them are still coming here on my left. I'm just gonna stop here so that we can show you. So the wind is just blowing all directions now. So maybe they have just been to one of the water holes. They're just passing by here for foraging purposes. I can see they are all now feeding much more here on my right. So they were not here in order to drink by the Galago pen. So they were coming to feed. That little one was so very cute. The little one is now hiding somewhere in the middle of these adults. So the elephants, they've got quite a huge responsibility every day. So they've got to eat 200 to 400 kilograms of food a day. And that is too much. So the digestive system of the elephants, it works very hard every day. And their diet is consisted of thorn and spine trees. Christina, the babies elephants, you'll see even when they're still very young that they try to use them all the time, but everything goes with age. Yes, you're right. Most of the things elephants, they got to learn how to use them. When talking about the ears as well as the trunks, these elephants must have to learn in order to cool the body temperature and to use the trunk. So they normally learn a lot when they're just about 2 years to 3 years, because when they get to 3 years, they become independent, and mother don't play a significant role when it comes to the assisting the little ones when they're feeding. So the elephants don't really compete for the food. they don't eat only a specific part of a tree. When the other elephants are feeding on leaves, the other ones will be eating the bark, whereas the other ones will be uprooting the trees, eating the roots. So the level of competition is very much low. They don't really compete for food. What I like about the elephants is that they don't spend much time by the same area feeding on the same trees. They will be here this week, and again after a while they will come back, but they wait until the area is recovered and come back again. And that is very good for conservation, because it's like elephants have got a very good conservation management strategies. So they will come and eat here, and after eating here they will go and eat somewhere. What I like about them again when going to the other areas is that if those areas are not fertilized, they go and fertilize the areas by leaving behind a lot of droppings, which will then help the soil to become fertile. Kathleen, I didn't get the question very well, but I hear you asking about the dentition of the elephants. So the elephants, if I'm getting the question nicely, is that by the forehead you will see the females, you will see them with a square forehead, whereas the males, they've got kind of a round forehead. The female is the one with the round, and the male with the square forehead. So here now I am looking for some of the predators, and while I'm doing that, let's cross over to the Masai Mara where David is having some lions.
Well, very good, Elise. You can easily, well, I would say it's not easy to tell Elise males from females if you see them, especially from a distance, unless of course you see the females and you look between the front legs and you're able to see the mammary glands. Otherwise, looking at their genitalia is rather difficult to tell males from females because you never see their sexual organs. Now, for the lions, it's black and white. You can tell males from females, especially if they're fully grown. This youngster we see here, you can see he got a bit of mane, and that one definitely tells you he is a boy. To the left of your screen is a female. We may not be able to see the head very well or the neck, but definitely females got no mane. So unlike elephants, for lions, it's very easy to tell who you are looking at and be able to identify 100% the sex of each individual. Now, this pride of lions that we got here is called the Olololo. Olololo, quite an interesting name. I have always loved to make a song using the word Olololo, and Olololo going to be my chorus, like how I like singing Hakuna Matata. And in the Mara, we always name all the prides of lions that we got, and the particular themes that we use. One, either by their behavior, two, in the areas they are found, and three, how physically they look. Now, this particular pride has been found, I would say, more often than not, in or near the escarpment that is called the Olololo. Anybody who might have watched the movie Out of Africa must have seen that feature. It's kind of an escarpment, very, very good, on the western side of the Rift Valley. Mrs. Lapwing, very happy to hear your name, and I'm always excited when I hear Mrs. Lapwing, either for a question or for a comment. Yes, today Mrs. Lapwing has been a day full of goodies. In the morning, I'm sure you remember we had a black rhino, we had a cheetah, we had Hosanna with Steve in South Africa, and now we got the Olololo Pride. April, you love to hear that song. Well, the song, I'm still writing it now, and my good friend Bungei, who just came from leave, will help me to put the words together. But most important, April, the chorus will be Olololo, until it goes something didin 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 Olololo didin 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 Olololo. Bungei, does that make sense? So Bungei is just laughing, April, but don't stay far. Sooner or later, we are constructing a song. I have written And look, in the final control is just laughing. I've done a few verses, so, but the chorus will ring around that name there, Olololo. Now, my guest April here, this youngster here, that is the mother to the left. And when this pride, they are all together, they are 16 in number. So why these two are together? Of course, it could be a mother and a son bonding. And if we got two here, it means 14 elsewhere. Where they are, I have no idea, but I'll be looking for them. Now, with such warm temperatures, you know, I think we started about 81 degrees Fahrenheit or 27 Celsius for those who like using metric. It's pretty warm. And what these lions would do, look at that one there, this youngster, and putting his leg up. Not sure he is actually sleeping. And if he is definitely dreaming of something. Not sure he's dreaming kicking someone, because that's quite, quite a behavior. Anyhow, what I'm saying, it's very normal to have them flat. Now, James Richard, how are you? And always very good to hear your name, James Richard. Now, you know, in general, lions are sedentary, James Richard, and they rarely follow the massive or the herds of... Look at that, James Richard. I'm not sure what this guy is doing, whether he's in a good dream or he's having a little issue on that foot and he wants to keep stretching the muscles, or he's doing a bit of yoga. And James Richard, in general, lions, for a few days or so, or say for a few kilometers, they try to catch up with the herd. But lions, being territorial, they know in every territory there's another pride, and they can only stretch their territories or their boundaries so much. So once, for example, the Olololos from where they are, the next territory from here belongs to the Owinos. Owinos are always 5, of course. They cannot match the Olololos, James Richard, which are 16. But lions know this is the farthest we can push the boundaries. Everything has a limit. So they have left the multitudes of the herds of wildebeests and zebras to go, and what they have been left doing now is to bring down the big and dangerous prey. I'm talking about buffaloes. Once in a while, they'll also try to bring down a huge animal like a giraffe or elands. 3 weeks ago, I'm not sure whether you watched, James Richard, this particular pride brought down 2 buffaloes in one night. So that was quite an achievement. So between that time and now, I have seen 2 zebras down, and 1 wildebeest down, and 1 giraffe down. So I do not know the last 4 days what they have brought down. And yesterday they tried to bring down a warthog, which was a big joke. And 3 days ago, they tried to bring a buffalo, but the buffalo was a male, and there were about 5 males, and there was a bit of a standoff between the 5 males and 11 of this Olololo pride. Nothing out of the ordinary, going flat because of the heat. So what I will do, I will just leave them because they are a bit flat. And I also gathered, I'm not sure, Luke, I might be correct, Sensor was in leave and he resumed today, is that correct? Luke? Very good, Senzo. Well, basically, I was asking whether Senzo was on leave, and he was on leave. He resumed today. That should be like Bungay, and then they have a commonality. They, checked in work the same day, and maybe you can ask Senzo and Steve to do us one song. I say do one for the lions. They can do one for the leopard from South Africa.
David, I was thinking to myself that, you were singing a bit of an Olololo song there, and I think it's a bit of a deep resonating song, almost like Senzo and my leopard song, which you will get to hear. Olololo, 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 Ingwe, 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 Ingwe. So I am saying leopard in Zulu, in Shangaan as well, and Senzo is saying the spotted cat. Am I right, Senzo? The spotted cat in Zulu. And we normally have quite a bit of luck with that. So anyway, we've come and we've checked Impala clearing now, and there was a whole lot of tracks of wildebeest there that were running. So we're just having a little look around here and see. There's been some reports of some lions up towards the gate that were seen a while ago. No one seems to know where they are, but the impala here are looking very, very relaxed. But while we try and scratch around here and get our voices back, let's go and see what Sidney's up to.
So I am now checking around the Galago pen here to see if maybe we cannot find any of these beautiful leopards in the area. But it looks very much quiet here. I cannot see any of the tracks, but I hear there's been some tracks here of a male leopard. Hopefully that might be a Hosanna. Maybe Hosanna has been here a few hours ago. The wind is too much here. I cannot hear far, because sometimes you can hear these animals when they're giving warning calls. So today it won't be very easy for me to hear the alarm calls. Yeah, I'm trying to check all these small gullies here in this area. I have not yet picked up any tracks, but things has been happening somewhere around here. Luca, I am not too sure when Hukumuri was last seen here, but I have last seen Hukumuri, maybe it was about 3 months ago now. The day Hukumuri was fighting against Hosanna. So it's very much difficult to see his tracks around here, but I will, as soon as I pick up some tracks here, I will tell you the chances of seeing these beautiful cats. Maybe Hosanna is using the advantage of this kind of beautiful weather in order to hunt. And here where the tracks has been spotted, I am not seeing any of the impalas around here. So the prey animals must be knowing. Jay, the leopards who is very territorial, and the territorial holder of this area is Tingana. But in his territory, you will see and the common leopard in his territory is his son. So Hosanna is the one who is walking around here a lot in his father's territory. So now let's quickly cross over back to the Masai Mara and see how David is doing at the moment.
Well, it's always good to talk about the territories of these cats because in general cats are very territorial. Cheetahs sometimes we say maybe not. They may have very huge home ranges. But either way, the males will try to control, a certain acreage just for mainly for hunting reasons, mainly for prey, not for controlling the females like in the lions or like the leopards. But I think cheetahs may have some territory, and especially more so on the males, as I said, just for purposes of sourcing food. Well, I got a herd of buffaloes here, which I think is a good idea to watch in this beautiful light. How is that, Bungay? That's good for you? And this is the African buffalo, and enjoying the cool breeze that we're also enjoying today, away from the rain that we have had for the last 2.5 weeks, that we have been hammered almost every other afternoon, and certain times you have even been rained on in the morning. And there were times that was very difficult for us to be able to bring you this wonderful wilderness of Africa. So that guy there got, oh, that buffalo there, if you look carefully on his back, he got some 2 ox pickers, that male there, and he's just the other one just sniffing at us and wondering, what are you made of? I mean, sometimes, you know, these old boys, when they get older, they get a little grumpy. Look at that pose. And what do you think of that look? And he is like, what? You know, we have no problem. I mean, don't look at us in that bad eye. We in any shape or form. We're just here to enjoy. You're beautiful. You look handsome to me. So don't think we are doing anything that will not please you. And males get grumpy as they get old. And for the buffaloes, once the males get a little bit tired, the females normally will show them the door. And I'm sure once that happens, it's not the best thing they want in life. I would guess one of these buffaloes is what the lions, the oral pride of lions that I was just watching now, were trying to bring down. And it's the guy maybe who is looking at us in that very suspicious eye and not trusting anybody that he sees. And he got also some ox pickers on his back. And these ox pickers got beaks that are like scissors. They always weave through the fur of these animals to get some ticks or mites that glue themselves on the skins of these buffaloes. And looking at the horns, you can see pretty big wide base. Fluffy African, you would like to know whether buffaloes can be habituated to Africans. Well, I think that has been done in Asia, and I'm talking of countries like in India, where people even source milk from the buffaloes. And I'll tell you, that has not been tried in Africa. I cannot remember which country that was tried, and it could be like a couple of years ago. And I tell you, Fluffy African, the results were, I would say, fatal, because I had a few people died, and they tried to habituate the females. Of course, you don't habituate an animal for no reason. You know, you habituate, for example, horses to ride on them and just to enjoy their beauty. Donkeys the same, and use them maybe to hold some luggage or something like that. So you'd also habituate an animal, for example, buffaloes, not ride on them, but basically maybe to source milk from them. And they would, you know, just like how we get milk from the cows here locally, we normally tie the legs, the hind legs, and we get to the udder and milk them. And that's exactly what they are doing with the buffaloes. And it worked here for a couple of days, but occasionally the buffaloes would swing their horns and hit the milkers, you know, hurt them badly, and sometimes even kill some. So the next step they went was to cut their horns and dehorn them to make sure that should they use their horns to hit them, they would not, you know, hurt anybody. But they found out the buffaloes were too strong. They would even cut the ropes that had tied their legs. And then they went to a different notch, and they used cables on their legs, you know, which was not very good. It was a bit ugly, and found out as the buffaloes were trying to undo the cables, they would cut themselves. And they're like, you know what? Forget it. So that one has not been done in Africa, and I don't think is a good idea. I would definitely not advocate it. I would say don't do it. Let these animals stay where they are. We get their milk as we watch them on the screen, and like me being here enjoying their views. Miss Lapwing, a very good question, and that's the yellow-beaked oxpecker. Thank you very much. And you can see that one's holding a little grass. Thank you for asking me that. I should have told you that. My apologies. And that's the yellow-billed oxpecker. And apparently, Miss Lapwing, if you see nests of these lapwings and you have a closer examination of them. What they do, they line their nest with furs, apparently, of buffaloes. Will you believe that? So if Miss Lapwing, you see a nest of a lapwing, they'll always line them using fur or the hair of buffaloes. So out in the college or out here, when you go and you're looking for some nests and you don't find the owners, and you see or you look at them closely and you find any fur from any fur inside the nest, and you identify the fur to be of a buffalo, definitely you can tell almost 100% it belongs to an oxpecker. Buffaloes being ruminants, you can see they're just chewing cud there, slowly, because it has been hot in the day. And I think there, Mr. Lapwing, there's a combination of both red-billed and yellow-billed oxpeckers. Very good. What they do, they'll always go to the ears of the buffaloes to get the ticks out. And again, yeah, Mrs. Lapwing, we got both of them there, red-billed and yellow-billed oxpeckers. Well, oxpeckers, well done. Make sure you finish all the ticks there, and let's find out whether Steve's giraffe has any oxpeckers or not.
Thanks, David. Well, we're trying to get a view of these giraffe. Would you believe the tallest land mammal can hide like this? There we go. You probably see birds flying through the screen. That's a flock of quailias moving through. There's a group of at least 5 or 6 giraffe here. There we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, so nice to see, but, well, the wind is a-blowing, and the giraffe, who have got a very good eyesight, well, they don't do very well when the wind is blowing into these thickets, because, well, it is masking the appearance or the scent of lions. And well, towards the gate where we headed, there was a report of some lions towards the gate, and while we've been having a look, as I said, there's been some tracks of antelopes running, which is quite easy to identify by the way that the hooves hit the floor. And after the rain, they leave quite a nice sort of dent or divot in the mud, almost like people have been playing golf with antelope hooves. If you've ever seen golf courses where people knock all the divots out of the ground, well, like that, except with antelope hooves. Quite similar. But anyway, the giraffe have decided they do not want to be part of the show this afternoon. Even the oxpeckers are steering clear because it's very windy. You can probably hear it on my microphone. We're going to keep going around here and see if we can get any tracks. And apparently some tracks of Hosanna around Gallagher, so close to where Sydney was with those elephants. Didn't find any tracks myself coming out of that block, but as I said, he probably was walking before the rain fell, and some fresh tracks after the rain being a lot more discernible than during. So unfortunately there is, I believe, someone following up in that area. We'll go and have a little look-see in a little bit, shall we? Just keeping to the western side. As I said, when the temperature's cool like this, you don't know what you can find. Hello there, Lego bros. You want to know how symbiotic relationships work? Well, I think we need to schedule an appointment and we can sit down and I can give you a 4.5-hour lecture. Okay, well, symbiotic relationships basically means, in a nutshell, let me just turn off this game drive radio is going absolutely ballistic this afternoon. But symbiotic relationships is the association, ecological association between two different species. Okay, so we've got mutualism, whereby a bird, for example, the oxpecker, sits on a giraffe and picks off the ticks. So the removal of ticks is important for the giraffe, and the bird is benefited by eating the ticks. So that is mutualism. The tick itself on the giraffe is in fact a parasite, and that is parasitism, another symbiotic relationship, whereby it is sucking the blood of the giraffe. But parasite does not necessarily kill the host. It's generally smaller, it does not kill. And the third one being commensalism. For example, a bird sitting in a tree or roosting in a tree does not do the tree any harm, but the bird is benefited. For example, sitting underneath a tree in the shade, the tree is not affected, but we benefit from the shade. So that is essentially it. In a nutshell, everything in nature, if you look around, there's some form of symbiotic relationship together with those species, and piecing them together can be really, really interesting. So the Lego bros, I hope that's summed it up for you a little bit. But it gets also more in depth. For example, the use of a shell. For example, a shell for a hermit crab is called inquilism, which is a type of symbiotic relationship with this, is essentially commensalism, because the hermit crab is benefited, but the shell is not of a mollusk, of a snail, but it was once a living animal. So the shell obviously is not being harmed in any way, and the snail inside, well, is long gone. It was not the hermit crab that killed it, or even the passage of something on something for travel. I'm trying to remember what that is. We've got a beautiful magpie shrike just next to us here, Senzo. So a few of the viewers are asking whether ticks are good for you. Well, if you like scratching and contracting certain diseases, then ticks are fantastic. But no, they are not. They are transmitters of parasites. They are parasites. They're transmitters of disease, and they are actually there to eradicate or to add viruses to the population, which will which will eventually basically limit or control movement. Sorry about the roof pole you saw there. There is a potential rain forecast. There is a helicopter flying there. What's he doing? You probably hear him flying in the sky. So ticks are not regarded as beneficial to many organisms. Sorry, Sense. Not regarded as beneficial to many organisms. They are the carriers of disease and the regulators of populations. But ticks are food to certain animals. And even, I suppose, the one benefit that ticks have in the primate family is that by grooming, they develop bonds and sort of respect for each other. They really get nice and close. They sit there and they groom and take each other's parasites off. Okay, well, we're going to continue on, see what we can find along here. We're going to head up onto the northern boundary and then in east, cut back to Gallagher, see if we can get any tracks of Hosanna. In the meantime, back up to the Mara with David.
Ticks with giraffes, it's really something, but I would want someone to tell me, then maybe the experienced guys like, Steve and James Henry and, other guides, do birds ever get ticks? I have never, seen a bird, alive or dead, with any ticks on the body, and I would guess maybe the only reason they may not get ticks, they always tend to remain, they're always airborne and maybe on top of trees. Rarely they spend a lot of time on the ground, or they could easily pick ticks. Now, this snake eagle here is trying to balance herself in this very cold, not cold, but very windy afternoon here in the Mara Triangle, and this is a black-chested snake eagle. Black-chested snake eagle, and enjoying the ride on a bosquet tree, and she's doing very well so far to keep her balance, and she's not tipping over. Did you fly away? Did you hear me? And there she goes. Well done, Bungay. Are you going to shift to another tree? Yes, no? Maybe yes, maybe not. Very good job. And that's a black-chested snake eagle. Maybe she saw something, and that's why she has flown away. Very good job there, Bungay. So that was a black-chested snake eagle. And when she was there, struggling to hold for her dear life, most likely she might have spotted something, and she couldn't let go. So snake eagles got very good eye depth, and the sight is wonderful. Lorena, that was a beautiful takeoff, yes, because she goes like that, Lorena, and that, and then she goes balancing. Lorena, the snake eagles got a huge wingspan, like in general in most eagles, and that was a very smooth takeoff. I agree with you. And I was talking of most of these eagles having very good eyesight, and more so snake eagles, because from that vantage point she has to look and spot prey for herself. And in general, snake eagles eat snake as much as of course they'll eat other reptiles like lizards or chameleons or small little mammals like rodents, mice, rats. They need to see a snake from a distance and should wait until she saw what she wanted. You say whether they are similar to the falcons. Yes, I would say these are snake eagles, and I'm sure that falcons also are some type of raptors. from a distance you can confuse them, and of course they're similar as much as they are not related. And unlike all the other eagles, most snake eagles in general do not have booted tarsi. So if you look on their legs, snake eagles do not have feathers. So they could be related, and the only falcon I would guess that could be a little similar to that would be the pygmy falcon. Pretty small, but as a bird of prey, the pygmy falcon is a very good fighter, and I've seen pygmy falcons dealing with birds, some of them that are even much bigger than her. So yes, they're very similar. And the other sorry, look, what did Dr. Kathy say about ticks? And it's always very interesting to see these eagles here. Dr. Kathy, thank you for helping me know that you're saying birds can also get ticks. Thank you very much, Dr. Kathy. That's a new one for me. Maybe more often than not, I have not had maybe good time to examine the birds to know if they would be able to get ticks or not. But thank you very much, Dr. Kathy, for educating me on that one. Well, I was saying earlier also the black-chested snake eagle sometimes from a distance is confused with the martial eagle. Well, enough of the eagles now and ticks and everything else. Let's go back to Stivovo in South Africa.
Welcome back from the Mara. Well, we have found some Amur falcons, previously known as the red-footed falcon. You can see on that sub-adult male on the top right there. Or is that a female? That's quite tricky to tell. I think it's going quite orange, so I think it's a young male. A male on the left and a female on the bottom. And, well, they are going to love the rainfall that has been falling because, well, this rainfall leads to the emergence of the termite alates, which will be flying out at some stage after the ground is nice and soft. And all these guys fly all the way down here for such events. But David was asking me, are there any ticks related to birds? And well, essentially birds do get ticks, and they're generally regarded as what we call soft ticks. Most of the ticks that we've spoken about or are familiar with are hard ticks. They've got just a harder exoskeleton, and soft ticks are normally related and found inside of nests, inside the nests where the fledglings are. And that's one of the reasons why they don't really have the capacity to live outside of a nest. That's one of the reasons why most of the birds will groom and preen away from the nest so as to avoid or to rid themselves of those parasites. But invariably, a lot of them do move in. So from the red-footed or Amur falcon there, I've got a very nice image on my phone here of a soft tick. And, well, bear yourselves for a little bit of grossness. Here it is. There we go. There's a soft tick. So essentially the outside or exoskeleton, is much softer than the others. And these are adults. You can tell by the fact that they've got 4 sets of legs. Adult ticks have got 4 sets of legs, and nymphs have got 3. So when you find small ticks, they're not breeding yet. They're going through different larval stages before reaching maturity and before laying eggs. So, King Quad, do you want to know if I know what a Amur means? I actually don't know. I don't know, but I will have to find out for you, and maybe there's someone out there who knows and can find out an answer quicker than I can. If you do, anyone, hashtag SafariLive or drop your answer in on the YouTube chat stream. What does Amur, A-M-U-R, Amur. Maybe it's named after somebody. It's hard to say, but why they went from a red-footed falcon to a Amur falcon is hard to say. But the only gregarious falcon that I know of, coming all the way down from Eastern Asia, and their numbers have declined drastically. Drastically. It is an enormous conservation issue. People are catching them for food and all sorts of other things, medicine and the like. And talking about migrants, oh, he's got, there was a redback shrike. Okay, so apparently, if you can give me the name again there, please, Lukey. Amur is apparently a region in Asia, so that's obviously where they originate from. Guitarist, like, that's a very interesting name. Apparently it is a region within Asia that they come from, almost like you could say Egypt or the Nile or whatever it might be. So that is obviously, that's why they changed it, maybe to be a bit more accurate to what it was before. Red-footed, seeing as they got red feet, obviously wasn't accurate enough. But a lovely migrating species. And well, here we've got a lone impala male. Hello boy. Oopsie, there we go. That is what happens when it is windy. The Lego Bros, you want to know if birds are able to fly in the rain? They most certainly are, but it is tricky because they get quite heavy. So you often get birds flapping a lot and then they fly. But they do get quite heavy. You don't see birds doing enormous amounts of flying in the rain, but often after some rainfall, you'll find birds very excited, sitting on the end of a branch, rooming, cleaning themselves, cleaning all the feathers, getting all the dust out, and then as it starts to abate the rain, you hear the birds all singing and calling, and woo, the sun is shining, or the rain has come, because they know that their breakfast will be served. The life cycles of these insects out here can be so short that their food can erupt within moments, really, with the rain. So the rain we had this morning, no doubt the mosquito population in camp, everybody back in Djuma, is going to escalate, and so are the beetles. We're probably going to have a stink bug revolution when we get home, so we need to make sure we cover our food this evening. Stink bugs are these little black shell beetles. Little bugs, stink bugs. They are horrible, and they are attracted to light, and they have these enormous blooms after some rainfall, and when they get into the food, I don't even think a hyena would eat them. Or maybe they would. Okay, well, the wind is blowing, and well, the rain.
I am still busy doing some trekking by this side at the moment. I am now on Buffer's Hook borderline to see if maybe we cannot find Tingana, who was last seen going much more towards the Buffer's Hook area a few days ago. Maybe he's on his way back to patrol his territory, because normally normally after the heavy rains, the animals, they've got a huge responsibility of going back to remark their territories. And I would like to apologize for the inconveniences due to some network difficulties. John, I have just missed your question due to the strong winds. John, these are just they are not necessarily speed bumps. What is happening here is that we are channeling the water in order to avoid the water to erode the roads. This is part of the maintenance, road maintenance, because otherwise, if we don't have these humps, the water, the velocity is just going to come and wash away all the sand. So in order to slow down the velocity of water during the rain, this is what we do. We build the humps, and again, for a short distance, we build more humps. It is a conservation tool in order to avoid the erosion of the road. So it is so very much not yet. I have not yet been part of any of the conservation related responsibilities, but I know I have been doing quite a lot of conservation responsibilities. Oh, there's Steve. I have done quite a lot of contribution in conservation before. Now I'm heading much more towards the Sydney's Dam, which is where yesterday we have been, and we saw tracks. So today, if we can find any of those lions here. Yeah. So them, let's cross over to a dead about that roads.
Well, one of the best things the park management does here in the Mara Triangle is to grade the roads. Now, if you look on this road here, you see it's got a bit of reddish in it, like clay soil. So this soil has been brought in here by big trucks, you know, and then you have some graders which will come and compact it on the ground. In general, the kind of soil geology here is what you call the black cotton soil, which when it rains, it gets very soft and very slippery. So the park management here does a very good job of maintaining the infrastructure. Otherwise, it could be very difficult for most of us to drive around. With the rains that we had the last 3 weeks, which were very, very heavy, we were able to stay afloat by staying on these roads, because if they had not done this, it could be practically impossible for anybody to drive anywhere. So what we did, we stayed on the road, but luckily also the animals tended to leave the wet areas out there where the grass was wet, and they would come on the road and you would see, you know, all the cats were able to see. The pride of lions I was watching, the Olololo earlier, more often than not, during that rainfall season of 3 weeks, they would leave the grass and come either lie on the road or just walk on the road, which were reminding me of a movie that I saw some times back. It was called To Walk with the Lions. Beautiful temperatures up to now, and I thought, you know, I leave those two fat lions and go look for maybe more active or more serious lions, which are maybe doing something. But where I am now, I'm totally out of the Ololo Pride. I'm at an area where we see a different pride that is called the Marsh Breakaways. Marsh Breakaways is where I want to spend the rest of my afternoon and chance on them. And apparently also this morning, not far from where I am, we saw a cheetah which we guessed was a lope. It was a male, and some of the viewers, and especially one called Michael, guessed it was a lope. I wasn't very sure about that, and I'm sure you all got the sad news that we lost Naratoi, and which is pretty sad to have lost that female at a very young age of about 4.5 years. But again, you know, it would happen because she was unwell and she had to pass on because of low blood sugar. That's what the post-mortem said. I'm going somewhere that I got a little drainage. Hopefully I'm not going to lose my signal, but it will not take me more than 10 seconds and out. Hopefully I am going to keep holding and continue being live. Don't go away. I just want to cross this bridge here, and sometimes the signal here is a bit weak. We get what we are very good, and look, in the final control says I can keep talking because all looks fine. And that bridge I just crossed there, 2 weeks ago we were not able to cross. We had to do a very huge detour to come to an airstrip that is not very far from here. It's an airstrip when we are going home for leaves, and when we are taking our off days, we'll always leave or land at this airstrip, which I'm going to show you, that is called Kichwa Tembo Airstrip. Kichwa Tembo Airstrip. And I'm going to show you how it looks like. There's a plane there. And we'll always take off and leave from this airfield here. And its name is called Kicho Tembo, and Kicho means a head and Tembo means an elephant. Roshni, you'd like to know whether you've got areas that don't have the black cotton soil. Yes, they are. But the big geology here, this big soil geology here, Roshni, is black cotton soil. But of course, where they get this red marram, which is clay, or the gravel that they come and compact on the road, is definitely still within the Mara Triangle where they dig the marram. Where Roshni was watching those lions near that pride, it was very close to an area where they have always dug marram for very many years. So we got areas here, Roshni, that got the red clay, and it's not all black cotton soil. We got a giraffe here about maybe what, 12 o'clock. I want to go across. Well, my head did not appear there. Well done, Bungay. And that giraffe want either to go and see that plane. I remember in the village that I come from, there was every day, every Sunday, would request our parents to allow us to go to the nearest airstrip to see planes, you know, and to see a plane like that was very special. Well, the giraffe, just like the buffaloes we had before, she also got some hitchhikers. I'm talking of some oxpeckers that are also enjoying or removing the ticks. I'm not sure whether this is another symbiotic relationship between the giraffes, like what Steve was talking about, and the oxpeckers. And she's getting very close to the airstrip. And there are times I've seen when pilots come to land and they spot a giraffe like that, they get very upset because they cannot land and they don't want to take any chances, and they'll always overshoot and go around. And if they'll get some of the gauge waiting for their, guests there, they come out and harass them, say, you saw a giraffe there or an animal getting so close to the airstrip, why couldn't you move it, because it could be a little bit dangerous just to have such a big animal very close to an airfield, What will happen is sometimes the giraffes might panic, or any other animal, and go in the wrong direction, or maybe go towards the plane. So these are the Maasai giraffe, which are the same giraffes, I guess, that what Steve had before. They spread all the way to South Africa. Stevie, you say it's so beautiful how they walk. And if you look at them carefully, they move two legs of one side at the same time. It's very similar to what we call ambling, which a giraffe will amble, moving two and two. I would guess this is the tallest animal we got in the world and has the highest center of gravity. And that's why it's quite a challenge for them when they run. And when they run, you'd see them they tend to gallop. Hello, giraffes. The other species of giraffes that we got are the Rothschild giraffe, the lenticular giraffe, and the northern giraffe. And the differences are on their body patterns. Apart from their body patterns, everything else remains the same. So they're heading towards the oral escarpment. Very good, giraffes. Very good, entertaining. Well, giraffes, keep walking, keep ambling. I like your gait. And let's go back to South Africa to my friend, Steve Ovo.
Thanks, Gigi. Well, we've just spotted a crested varmint and he's gone. Well, one of the pretty birds we find out here. A whole nester feeding on insects, fruits, and all sorts of interesting things. And, well, he just disappeared. You don't often get to get them on camera like that. And, well, we had him for a moment and now he's gone. So, I was just trying to have had an image there of David Gitu as a boy, as a young boy. I can't see it, eh? He's just such an esteemed gentleman in my eyes that to imagine him going to the airstrip with his family as a young boy, watching the airplanes take off, I still see the same face, the same smile, the same shuka over the shoulders. Yeah, you'd expect him to be the pilot as well. Yes, you would. Old Gigi, we love him to bits. Anyway, we've come back down Vuyatela access. We are going to have a little scratch around Galago area and then maybe go to Vuyatela Pan. Everybody else seems to have gone north. The little chief, I've no doubt, will just pop out for us because, well, we know his song. Ungwe. It's so nice to have Senzo back. I haven't worked with Senzo since September, so it's really nice to see old friends returning after some time off. Yes, Pumkwa, you want to know if Senzo's wearing holiday socks? What kind of a question is that? Are you ready? There they are. I don't think he owns anything else. He only owns cool socks. He only owns cool socks, hey Sens? He's come from really warm temperatures. Linda, wow, you say? Wow, indeed. Those are pretty mellow socks for Senzo. I've seen Senzo with much, much more colour. Whoopsie, that's where I'm going left. I think we're just going to scratch around Gallagher Pan real quick. If the reports are true that the tracks of the little chief have come through here, it seems to be the modus operandi, isn't it, for him? Oh, we are bumping into Yuri again. We are aimlessly driving. We have a plan. We have a plan. They're driving aimlessly. We have a method. Our method is madness, but it is still method. We are searching the ground for tracks. We are listening for the... Yes, exactly. Leopards love yellow socks, so Senzo's got them dangling over the edge. It's almost like fishing. Almost like fishing, hey Senz? Yeah? I'm only joking, folks. We don't do that live at all. Okay, so this is the little link that goes to Gallagher watering hole itself. You know, the reality is that leopards in this weather, because it's windy, because it's cool, will still be moving. It's fantastic conditions for hunting. Lions as well, wild dog, even cheetah. Cheetah would be a bit skittish out here because, well, anything could catch them as well. But all the animals we're seeing are very jumpy. They know this is not their advantage. They don't have any advantage here. The leopards are camouflaged, they're stealthy. Some nice zebra tracks before the rain there coming in. Haven't seen too many zebra on Djuma of late. Hopefully now with the rains, the wildebeest family with some zebra will materialize back in and give us our daily dose in the middle of quarantine there of a beautiful little striped and horned family, which we see daily in the Mara. I do quite miss seeing a zebra every single day. They used to greet me on the way down the mountain every single day. Well, we drove past Sidders not so long ago. He was headed in the opposite direction to us. Let's go and see exactly where he's gotten to.
Yeah, there is no luck yet. I am now trying by the quarantine area, the southern side of the quarantine, as this is the area where some of the tracks has been spotted earlier. I just want to check all these termite mounds here, as maybe these cats, some of them might be on top of the termite mounds this afternoon. I am not going to leave any stone unturned here now. So once I pick up some tracks, I'm going to follow them. So there is no chance today for me to rely on any animal call. I can't hear anything. So the tracks are not clear at all. Lorena, I am going to try by all means. I thought this weather is the best weather for predation, but when it comes to some of my sense of smell and my hearing ability is difficult, because every time I'm trekking, I am using both the sense of smell and hearing. we still have got a chance. So it's also very difficult for the animals now to hear some of the predators is when they can use an advantage of the wind in order to stalk these animals. So this wind is unstable at the moment. Yeah, this leopard has not been walking on the road. There is no signs at all. So maybe he crossed right in the middle of the quarantine. Niconico viewer, I didn't get your question nicely. The sounds that brings out the animals. Is that the question? I didn't get that question clearly. So far, I haven't any of the lucky songs. I haven't got any of the lucky songs. So here I have got a combination of the zebras and the kudus all at the same spot. Oh, the wildebeest has got babies. I can see the... So the wildebeest has got some babies. You can see they are right at the open space and protected by the zebras. Zebras contributing when it comes to the eyesight. Wildebeest also contributing towards the zebras when it comes to the sense of smell. This is a very good relationship, and this is what is called mutualism, because they both get benefit from feeding together. Oh, that little one is still very small. I can see it's got part of the umbilical cord is still hanging. Yeah, the little one which is hiding there, the umbilical cord, the small piece is still hanging. You can see there. So that is quite a very small baby. So this baby, shortly after birth, they can be able to run fast. Oh, this one is very long. The umbilical cord there on this one is very much long hanging there. You can see they are still very much young. You can see that stick hanging there, that this baby has just arrived. Maybe it's about a few days ago. So maybe the predators we are looking for are hanging around here in order to get a chance to take down one of these wildebeest babies. So the wildebeest are very much territorial, but their territories keep on changing a lot according to the availability of food. So now let's go to the Masai Mara, where wildebeest has been seen in huge numbers during the migration.
Well, I got birds now, and I thought, having seen a snake eagle, why don't I look for more birds? And I found these great-crowned cranes. Now, great-crowned cranes, just before I continue, I'd like you to know, this is the national bird of a country west of Kenya called Uganda. And definitely, either they're enjoying the flowers there or the seeds. You can see how they keep picking, and they're very choosy on what they're eating. The one on the left to me looks like a little youngster. Doesn't have the red wattle like the one on the right. And these are some of the most beautiful birds that we got in the world. More often found in Eastern Africa and Southern Africa. Not sure we get them in the north. And just look at the crane of this crown of these birds here. and from that crane you can see that's how they got their name, as you know the name suggests. Always very active, and you'll see them laying their eggs or making nests on the ground near water. Behind them are some Thompson gazelles, and while I came here I was chancing to see if we could be lucky to spot a cheetah, and we spotted one in the morning, another 2-3 kilometers from here, but of course he was on the move and the direction he was going is where I am, but as yet nobody who has any news of that particular male cheetah spotted this morning. Go, you say you'd like to have one of those crowns. Why not? And I'll tell you for that reason, not sure that the exact, because of their beauty. If you look at the IUCN listing of these birds, I would say they're a little bit endangered because of the beauty. They remind me of the peacocks, and people have tried to domesticate these birds to keep them in their homes, which is not a very good thing to do, and I would say they're a little bit endangered at the moment. So IUCN is a little bit concerned on their numbers, and why not? It would be a beautiful crane, a beautiful crown to have, maybe on your head. I've seen locally here girls, doing some hairstyles that is something similar to this. Not sure they call it weave. I don't know what's the name they use. Now the Thompson gazelles in the background there make very good, or they constitute, I would say, 50 to 60% of what cheetahs will hunt. And no wonder we saw the cheetah not very far from here. That road you see in the background there behind that forest, but she was walking in this direction where I am. And the whole of this afternoon, nobody who have spotted her, I haven't heard of any news. But again, as it cools off, could be the time they'll always come out and walk around. Pretty fast antelopes, the Thompson gazelles. Antelopes of this size, these are the fastest. Thank you asking if these crown cranes or these grey crown cranes have a specific name. I do not think so, not one that I know of. I'll be asking Sydney and Steve to tell me if there's a particular specific name for the crown on their heads. I mean, we just call them grey crown cranes, and not sure they have a particular name, and maybe also not sure what purpose it would serve. I would say for the males, it might be slightly bit larger in size, maybe to attract the females, and I do not know any other purpose it would serve and what exactly could be their name. I might be finding out for you, but not any name I got for this particular crane or for this particular crown behind the head. Lisa, you say they look like mohawk. Very good, Lisa. Very great comment. You say they look like mohawk. And that reminds me of the mohawk of one of the lions we usually have here in the Mara Triangle. That's called a scarface. And the scarface looks like also she always got a mohawk. Yes, Lisa, that sounds pretty good. It's like a mohawk. I'm going to allow these crown cranes to keep eating, but before we leave, if Bungay, you can go about 12 o'clock or 12:15, way in the horizon there, this beautiful rainbow that's not coming up as yet. Not sure whether it's going to be too far, but if you look 12 o'clock or about 12:15ish, it's a nice rainbow that's trying to pop up from bit of eastern horizon. Yes, very good. I love rainbows. It hasn't come out the way I would imagine it should be, but either way, rainbows will always look colorful in whichever way you look at them. Not sure that area, they have some rains, and of course you have always said you see rainbows, it would mean that could be the end of the rains of that particular day or that particular time. Well, we're gonna keep moving, and we'll move on and find out if we could be lucky, maybe like Steve Oval.
Well, we have decided to take our tactics to another level. Senzo and I stopped. We had a little look around. Can you see that youngster there, Sens? He's playing a little bit of fun and games. That little youngster's got a bee in its bonnet. And well, we decided to first of all stop the car and take a deep breath, and then to camouflage ourselves, to blend in a little bit with the environment. with a guarri branch, which also is notoriously well known for bringing good luck. And as soon as we did that, moments later, this small family of elephant materialized out of the thickets. So the guarri branch is a very good token of good luck if you do drape it over yourself. And while it helps us to blend in just like that elephant, there's a guarri branch in front of it. They are thoroughly enjoying the moisture that is provided by the rain. You can see how windy it is. All the animals are either hiding in the thickets or in the depressions, hidden away. We haven't had any joy with Osana, but we have only just begun with the guarri branch lucky streak. And well, we'll continue on. There's the woodland kingfisher calling in the background. Yeah, Luke, I'd love to hear a very bad elephant joke. Luke, his joke is, have you ever seen an elephant hiding behind a blade of grass? Next line, Luke. Oh, I've got to give an answer. No, Luke, I've never seen an elephant hiding behind a blade of grass. So Luke is laughing in my ear, and his answer is, that's because it's hiding. Well, thanks, Luke. I really do marvel at your humor. It's lovely to have Luke back in FC for the next few weeks. He is an absolute joy to work with. We like exercising together as well. And he's full of what we call in South Africa, gees, which is basically spirit and fun. Nice to have someone around. Well, there's lots of beautiful people in camp at the moment, I will be honest with you. Very nice team over here during the holidays. We're having a really nice time together, but it is nice to have Luke back, who left us for some time. So apparently the viewers are loving Luke's joke. Now, I know you're all just being kind. But see how the elephants have been blending in. Well, Senzo and myself are trying a little bit of the same. Guarri branch, guarri magic, and every now and again you can just pop one of the leaves. Not ideal. Not ideal. Well, there is a small herd of elephant slowly disappearing. They don't really mind the tannin too much. I don't know why. I just did that. I'm very, very parched right now. I'm going to have a bit of a drink to get this dryness out of my mouth. And well, as we do that, we're going to be moving on in search of the little chief and whatever else we might find. But off to the Mara with David.
Was like elephants to big birds like ostriches. These are the largest birds we got in Africa, maybe in the world. Not sure how big emus are, but I know ostriches are the biggest birds we got in Africa. Now, the one on the left is definitely a male, and the two on the right are two females. I've watched these two females for a couple of minutes, and all those buildings you see in the background there, that's a gate, and those are the houses of the game rangers, and we call that Olololo Gate. And remember, Olololo forms part of my chorus for the song that I'm writing. And, oops, what did you see there? What poked you there? She must have seen something she didn't like. Did you see a snake? Maybe not. But the point is, there are certain birds that you can very easily tell males from females. Like the crowns or the crown cranes we were watching a few minutes ago. It's very difficult to tell males from a female from a distance. But ostriches are black and white. And you can see the male is in black and white. So that we want to say. And he's a bit pinkish if you look on the legs. And that female there has a little beef with the other female. And I think between the two, she is the dominant female. And what she's doing, she's trying to get ready. Do you see that? She's sending the other female away. And I think she wants to keep the mating right with the male. That male, if you saw carefully, he got a bit of red legs, or rather pink legs and neck. And that's a breeding plumage. So he is ready to mate. And, you know, just like any other animals, you get sometimes they have bad blood between them. So of these two females, one of them is the dominant one. And the dominant one is trying to, you know, ward off the other female away, so that she is the only one who will be able to mate with the male. So females are grayish brown in color, more or less the same size, but males sometimes slightly larger than the females. And apart from the cranes, there are certain other birds that's telling them or having the sexual dimorphism, which is very difficult. And I'm talking of one of my favorite birds around here, that's called the lilac-breasted roller. So the male will just keep, you know, close to the females. Joy, we have so many antelopes that are running back around. We had before we had the Thompson gazelles, but let's just show you now the big ones. Those are the Thompson gazelles. I'm sure, Joy, you are watching, but you see those big ones there? Those ones are the toppies, T-O-P-I. Those are the toppies, and you see the brownish, and they've got a bit of greyish on their legs. And Joy, toppies are very similar to certain antelopes in South Africa that are called the sesame. So these are toppies, much larger in size, of course, than the Thompson gazelles. And you were talking about the Thompson gazelles being the favorite food of the cheetah, but once in a while we have seen big male cheetahs bringing toppies down, but of course a young toppie. And for a fully grown toppie, we have seen a coalition of cheetahs bring a toppie down. Here in the Mara, we have 5 males that live together that we call the 5 musketeers, and they have even been known to bring down a zebra. Cross 3, you're asking whether the male ostrich do help to raise the babies. Yes, they do a wonderful job. Actually, they start from incubation, and during the night, it's the males that will be incubating the eggs, and looking at them carefully, or look at the color of the feathers, they're more black, and that way would make them blend in very well at night and protect the eggs from would-be predators like monitor lizards or wild dogs or hyenas. And during the day, it will be the females that will incubate the eggs, and you can see the females being brown. They come out very well. Anna Marie, ostriches will lay more than 1 egg, could lay 3 to 5, and especially the dominant hen, Anna Marie, and then the other hens within the hierarchy, which are not dominant, will come and lay their eggs outside the clutch of actually the one that are laid by the dominant hen, Anna Marie. So they would lay 3 to 5 eggs. So during the day, Joy, you'll see the females will incubate the eggs or they blend in very well with the ground. But once, of course, they hatch, the chicks will be taken care of also by the males. You'll see chicks many times having both males and female together. Tim, you would like to know if lions go for ostriches. Oh yes, they do that many times. Tim, like now, we have been having the migration around here for the last, couple of months, but now they're gone. So ostriches have become a choice on the menu for lions, and lions have been left trying buffaloes or elands or giraffes, but ostriches we have seen once in a while, lions going for ostriches. And ostriches are very clever. We have seen anytime the ostrich are like here and they spot lions from a distance, very quickly they do a U-turn and they take off. Well, Shannon, good question. I would say cheetahs and ostriches, more or less, they have the same speed. Of course, depending on age and size, of course, but I would say cheetahs could be slightly bit faster. Ostriches, I guess, I could be wrong here, they could comfortably do about 80 kilometers an hour, about 80 to 90 kilometers an hour, while I'm sure you know cheetahs are a little faster. They could do 100, sometimes 110 kilometers an hour. So cheetahs are slightly bit fast than ostriches, but ostriches make a very huge stride when they run. And the first defense for ostriches is, of course, always to take off. Very good. Now we're gonna move on, and I think I'm doing good with the birds, with snake eagles, with ostriches, and with crown cranes. Let's find out how the weather looks like in South Africa.
The weather is changing right here in South Africa, Juma, at the moment, as it is now drizzling, which might also contribute a lot on my trekking. This is going to bring bad results, as now I'm not going to see the fresh tracks anymore. So I can see quite a lot of old tracks here now, and these tracks are going to be rubbed by all this rain coming in now. So I have just arrived now by the tree house dam, where I want to check if we cannot find any of these lovely animals. It is so very quiet here by the tree house dam. I am not seeing any of the tracks or any animals here. So it looks like the animals has been here a long time ago. So now that the rain is drizzling, these animals, some of them might now go and hide in thick bushes. So most of the animals, such as the impalas, they start to collect each other now and go under these trees for safety. So we can go back to Steve and hear how he is doing.
Well, indeed, we have found something in the tree. Found some tracks before that were before the rain, and I wasn't quite sure what we were looking at for a moment. You can sometimes confuse baboon tracks with that of leopard if you're not looking too clearly, and they were a bit displaced by the rain. But then we turned the corner and Senzo saw a little family or troop of baboons in this enormous jackalberry tree, a perfect habitat tree for them. And there are quite a number of them around. Some are on the floor, some are on the ground. There was a little bit of a disciplinary dispute a moment ago, but we're trying to get some more of them on screen. Baboons are quite shy. Unfortunately, around the world or around southern Africa, there is always conflict between man and baboon, because obviously they've got to scratch a living out here for food. I'm busy eating some jackalberry fruits there, it seems. They got to scratch a living out here for food. And, well, it's very easy to come and raid our kitchens, our dustbins. And, well, if you have a very good sort of cleaning system, you don't have any food lying around and you don't have any waste accessible, baboons and humans can live in absolute harmony. But it only takes one individual to feed a baboon, and that baboon will learn, well, I can get easy food. To the left, oh, he's just jumped. One just jumped up the tree there. There we go, Sands on the, oh, here we go. Down he comes. I love spending time with baboons. I think my favorite animals to spend time with are elephants or baboons. Obviously, I love honey badgers, but those are few and far between when it comes to sightings. But baboons are always comical, as are elephants. And spent some time with the olive baboons up in the Mara, which just seemed so much bigger. But they all fall underneath the savanna baboon, being very closely related. Little family groups. Not sure if they get bigger down here or in the Mara. It's all about food resource, really. Looks like a lot of fun, though, being able to run up and down that tree. Hello, Rosalind. Baboons are potentially dangerous. Obviously, these younger ones, not really. But the big male baboons have got the largest canines in the mammal kingdom. and they have potentially, if they bite you, well, you are going to feel it. The baboons fight for dominance, and they also fight to protect their family against predators. And, well, invariably baboons run away from you. But we talk about human and wildlife conflicts, and baboons that have lost fear of man. There we go, there's a bigger boy, it just jumped up there. Baboons who've lost the fear of man, well, they can become a problem because they are much, much stronger than we are. And nowhere near as heavy as we are, but strength-wise, incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. Big males with a very powerful bite force and enormous canines that serve only the purpose of fighting. They don't use their canines for eating, really, apart from the odd baby impala at this time of year. The canines don't come in use for any other purpose. And when a baboon smiles and shows its teeth, that is a very good this is so cool. It's a very good warning sign. I didn't get that name, Luke. Someone said that they're very always busy doing something. Goo. You said it. It's always doing something. Well, that is why baboons and elephants are always so much fun to watch. I mean, you spend time with the lion pride, and most of the time, if you have watched lions, they spend it sleeping. The leopards as well. They can spend a lot of time sleeping. There's a little bit of play happening on the outside there. Even in this rainfall, the baboons are having some fun. And well, when you watch them close enough, you'll invariably start picking out family members that you have back home, noticing certain traits that your younger brother or your older brother might have. Hello, Ginger. You want to know what will be stronger, a baboon or a chimp? I really don't know. I think that's a very good question. I think chimpanzees are slightly bigger than baboons. Spend a lot more time in trees than baboons do. So that would be a very good question. I think from a weight category, I'd have to double check how heavy a chimpanzee is versus that of a baboon. But that's something I'm going to have to look out. I don't think they ever encounter each other, the savanna baboon and the chimpanzee. The chimpanzee is quite an organized sort of unit. I watched a really interesting documentary, Dynasties, the other day on chimpanzees, and well, they are very, very special. Someone's trying to find out what we have here, and I'm trying to demonstrate from a distance that we have baboon. Hello, Bob. The nursing of a youngster, well, the gestation period is very similar to that of humans, and well, they take probably, I think, I'm not 100% sure on how long they wean them for, but they do stay close to mum for a very, very long time, staying in the troop and with the family. And staying at mum's breast for, I would say, at least 3 months, 4 months probably, but I'm really not 100% sure there. There's some very good questions catching me off guard today. Baboon. They are a wonderful animal to spend time with, and when you do see the youngsters, they're often attached to mum's hip or to her breast. I love it at the stage when they are on her back and riding like a Harley Davidson sort of mechanism. But from day one, they're far stronger than any human baby. There we go. There's a youngster. She's already a few months old. She's holding on to mum. Perfect position to get milk. And she's allowed to play as long as there's no danger around. As soon as there's some danger, well, mum will snatch her up and be off. There's some play on the side there. Devlin baboons get up to probably in the ages of around 20 to 25 at maximum sort of age, and then, well, males I don't think get that old because through competition they outcompete each other, and just like male lions, males don't survive very long, because invariably once they've been pushed out of a troop they need to move off, and they don't do as well alone as they do in a troop. They are a social animal, and without the care of the family, well, they just won't do very well at all. Well, I definitely need to do some reading on some elements of baboon society. I thought I knew so much, but yet I have been called into question. We will catch up on that, but up to David in the darkness.
A little bit dark here, and we are actually almost going to what I would call infrared. And We're already in infrared. Yeah, Bungay just confirmed to me to that. And you noticed we are 1 hour ahead of South Africa, so it gets darker much earlier here than it is in South Africa. Well, we all know the advantages of using infrared is to make us not have any light that would disturb the animals on any sighting. The only downside, we don't get to see animals that are quite far from the car or from the infrared camera. We'll just try and see how close we can see some impalas to our left. Sometimes we are just lucky. We just see whether we can turn around here and see how close we can see some impalas, which I've not seen the whole of this morning. How is that, Bungay? Do you think we can manage to capture those impalas? It's always good in a day to see impalas. Very good. Thank you very much. Same impalas, and back in the background there we've got different antelopes that we call waterbacks. And impalas always going in groups, waterbacks the same. And it's in general most of the antelopes will do that, apart from a few like the steinbocks or the dikers or the dik-diks that we see in twos, but most of the other antelopes will always go in herds. This is a topi there. And we got 3 different species of animals here, and also further right we got Thompson gazelles. So you can see all the pluses or the advantage of rainfall. So rainfall comes with so many goodies, and it's the commonality that has brought all these animals together. So impalas there, Thompson gazelles that have the black stripe on the side, and the one in the background, the brown one, is the waterback. And then, of course, there were some toppies. So 4 different species in an area or in a radius of less than 100 meters, just because the rains have been going on, the grass is lush and very nutritious at the moment. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, you would see them at different areas, depending on what they're feeding on. And I agree with all of you, that's such a beautiful sighting to have all those animals there, and with the short grass and the trees in the background there. And it's just a sight to behold, you know, a sight that I also enjoy, and just watching them doing the thing, running around. I'm not sure when the rains are going to come back here. I don't know how the situation is in South Africa, but the last 5-6 years, I would say almost 10 years now, let me say, the weather pattern in East Africa has been very unpredictable, quite erratic. The times we expect the long rains, they don't come, they come at the wrong time. And when we expect the long rains, we get short ones. And recently I thought we had the short rains, they seem to me like long rains. There was a day we thought in a span of about 96 hours we had over 300 millimeters of rainfall, which was a lot of rain by any standard. So the Mara looks beautifully green every part you look of the Mara. It's just all green, the grass, the trees, everything's just so lush. What you have noticed is you've got some animals like the zebras which do not, we've got a few that don't migrate. Oops, see that Thompson there running there? Look at that. Ooh la la. How fast now it's spunking up and down, up and down. She is at her best. Well done, Bungay. Look at that. How beautiful. That's like an act, eh? Very well done. You want to do that again for us? That was quite something. And that's always an indication that when everybody is doing very well, we've got a few more that are running there in the background, but definitely nothing's chasing them. They're just having a wonderful time. Ooh la la. Keep running, keep running. Excellent. Now, before it gets dark, I need to get to looking for some serious cuts, and let's go back to South Africa to my friend Sydney.
I am now heading much more towards the Viotella access to see if there are no tracks here, and I am just trying to get the updates here. Some other people were talking. So So I think there is a sighting somewhere here. I just want to try and hear if it's an accessible sighting. So I'm just trying to listen to these guys. They are talking about one of the sightings at the moment. Yeah, Texan, come here. Yeah, Texan, any luck that side? Yeah, Texan, Sydney speaking. Yeah, just confirm, can you have a sighting from the road? Okay, copy that, thank you. There's two lions close to the boundary, but I can't see them somewhere around the hook. So they have seen the two lions. I'm not too sure if it's a male or a female, or they are both males somewhere around the Buffalo's Hook, but I will keep listening to hear if they come out. So now let's quickly cross over to Steve and hear how his search is doing.
Thanks, Sidders. Well, good luck with those lions. I do apologize for my questions, and I do have to correct myself, because baboon gestation period is actually more closely to 6 months than to 9 months. I don't know where I got that from. Obviously, I was thinking a lot along the lines of humans and the similarities between them. But it's really interesting, really, in the behavior of baboons, in that from 3 to 4 months, the youngsters are starting to feed, and they can apparently be surviving on their own from about a year. They could. But in studies in Amboseli and other places, 22 months, more like close to 2 years, the youngsters are dependent on their mums, because it's not just, as I said with the adult male baboons, it's not just the fact that they need to eat on their own, it's the protection of the troop, it's the guidance that is given. So it's a young age for a primate. 1 year is very young. I mean, cats mature so much quicker, don't they? They're born, they develop so much quicker. Primates just require that little bit of extra social care and understanding. Can you imagine us being dependent at the age of 2? 2 years old, running around fending for yourself. Wow, that would be quite something, wouldn't it? Okay, well, we're going to continue on. We've got our luck still attached to the back of a hat, and I'm not sure if Sydney is going to some lions, but in the meantime, he's got a roadblock of elephant.
So the elephants are just now about to arrive by the Galago pen. Here is where they are quenching their thirst. You can see that these elephants, they are looking very much thirsty. And looking at their trunks, all the trunks are looking very much dry from the bottom all the way up. So they haven't been to any of the water hole yet. So including the little ones are also drinking. So, but these days, I'm sure they're getting quite a lot of moisture from what they're eating. This is quite a lovely baby. It's quite a very big head. I can see some are also on the other side. So I can hear a francolin making noise not very far away from here. I'm just going to investigate after these elephants to see why that francolin is giving a call. Yeah, this is quite a beautiful sighting, seeing these little ones drinking. Oh, there's a francolin which is just calling non-stop on the left side. Maybe we have got a visitor here. Arviad, that is quite a very interesting question. The elephants, some of the books will tell you they've got 4 toes in front, 5 at the back. Some will tell you they've got 5 in front and 5 at the back. So the elephants, they are near ungulates. The reason why they are falling under that category is because instead of having the real hoofs, the elephants have got the toenails. So you can hear that elephant, the one which is going now, was releasing quite a lot of carbon dioxide when leaving the Galago pen. I'm just going to go and investigate here and see what that bird is complaining about. There is an alarm call here, but it's just a single bird. Maybe it's a small predator. They eat all the leaves when they eat, so they don't spit any bad ones. Elephants, they do prefer some of these species of trees when they are feeding here. So animals, they do have the special preferences. Some of these animals, they are selective grazers, whereas some are mixed feeders, some they are bulk feeders. So apologies, it's very much difficult this afternoon to have the clear shots, as we have got the roof at the moment. As I indicated earlier, that the weather is not good at all. The rain is promising all the time and is drizzling at the moment. So you can see that the little one by this time already knows how to use the trunk. So I don't want to disturb these elephants. On my way out now to just quickly go and investigate the call, I'm going to avoid them here and go straight to where that call was coming from. So now let's cross over to the Masai Mara, where David is waiting.
Well, any day you see elephants is a beautiful day. And apparently this afternoon I have not seen elephants. I saw some this morning, and maybe I could be seeing some before the end of the drive. I would be happy to see some ellis. I'm just crossing another bridge there, and hopefully my signal is still holding. And yes, maybe I'm coming to some what? Maybe 2 elephants from here, maybe 3. I got 2 on the right and I got 3 on the left. Let me see which ones we are going to choose from. The ones on the left, I think they could be a little closer. Let's see how far Bungay can go. There's a little herd of elephants here, and yeah, also some calves. So we're going to give Bungay a good angle because the sun is also setting from the background, which could be a good sighting. We'll turn from here. How does that Bungay look? Does that look good for you? Are you happy with that? I know they're quite a distance. Let's see the best you can do. I know when it comes to camera work, you have your own wizardry, and I know you're a magic when it comes to camera. So look at those elephants. So for those of you who are joining us now, you might see those elephants look different from the normal. It's just because it's getting a little dark here, and we are in infrared. And that's the advantage of infrared. We'll see the animals very easily. They're not even being bothered by our presence, because we do not shine any artificial light to them. And remember, this is a very interactive safari we do. So should you have any questions or comments, don't be shy. We love hearing them. And you can send them through hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. This could be a mother with her youngster. I'm not sure they have kept walking for all those seconds without grabbing something. Child of the universe, I would guess anything after 6 months to a year, most calves are able to know what to do with their trunks. And of course they watch the adults very much, and they'll see what they do, and the youngsters learn very quickly. And child of the universe, not sure that youngster or that calf there is nursing, and if she is child of the universe, what she will do is to curl her trunk backwards, so that should allow the mouth to be free and to reach the mammary glands of the mother to be able to nurse. You'll always see elephants, the youngsters, just watching the adults as they move, and sometimes you'll see when they're still young and not knowing even how to feed, they'll tend or pretend to be picking grass or any small little shrubs and throwing it in the air, just like the adults do. Because what the adults will do, if they get a shrub that they want to pick and they use their trunk to uproot it and doesn't come out, they'll always give it a small little kick with their feet. So the youngsters, not knowing exactly what the adults do, will always do the same and then miss. So if they pick, excuse me, the little shrub or grass with soil, they shake it out. Firefly, you're asking how do two matriarchs react when they meet each other in the wild? If they could have been related for one, at one time along the lineage, you'll see them like greeting each other, like cousins or like sisters, how have you been? But ideally, everybody will try to be in charge of her own group, because in general, the females do not leave the herd. They tend to remain in the herd, and always they are, closely related. You could get sisters or first cousins, second cousins, or females in the same herd. But the matriarchs know each other, and we have seen if they come to a watering point, a watering hole, they tend to respect each other. You might see one herd going to drink and the other herd waiting, and then after it's done, the other one comes in. Unless they're very thirsty, we have seen them once in a while having a little bit of a disagreement or, going for each other. Bungay, let's see if they can get anything on the sunset. I know it's too far, but those trees there looks pretty good. Are you watching the lightning there? Okay, Bungay thinks we're just crossing fingers and see whether they can see some lightning at that particular point. And that was pretty cool, and we're seeing whether we might see another one. And how cool was that? Well, lightning in general is always followed by thunderstorms, and hopefully we don't get any rains. Or if we do, I always want rains to come at night. Arizona lady, you're saying that is just so beautiful. I agree with you. It looks like a painting, and I don't know what I'll say if we are lucky to see some light. Oops! Just speak of the devil, Arizona lady. I hope you saw that, and how cool was that? So that direction, Arizona lady, if you know the map of East Africa, is towards a lake that we call Lake Victoria. So a friend of mine early in the morning told me they were having some massive rains around that area. The Mara is also on the same zone of weather that affects the Lake Victoria. So when they get rains there, we also tend to get the rains here. How beautiful is that, Arizona lady? Hope you saw that. And I'm sure we're just chancing to see if we could get another lightning on that horizon. Those clouds are quite dark. and I'm sure you are all enjoying that. And that is the Uluru Escarpment you see in the background there. Anytime we talk of the Mara Triangle is a game reserve that takes the shape of a triangle, and one of the arms or sides of that boundary of the triangle is that escarpment. The other one being the famous Mara River, and the other arm of the triangle is the boundary between Kenya and Tanzania. So the Mara Triangle just joins Serengeti National Park, and the Serengeti and the Mara Game Reserve is just one and the same ecosystem, but two different countries, two different managements. The animals, the landscape basically is the same. The Mara meaning spots to the local people, and Serengeti meaning endless plains. And talking of local people, I'm definitely talking of the Maasais. Well, that listening was pretty good to watch. That was quite epic. Let's go back to South Africa to my friend Sydney and find out his latest.
No luck yet on these leopards. I am now checking the Mvubu Road where the elephants has just gone towards earlier on. This is another herd. It's not the herd we saw just now. Maybe these elephants are going to push these predators out from the thick bushes to an open space. So you can see here these elephants feeding. So they do help us a lot, elephants. Sometimes when there are leopards and lions deep in the thick bushes, they push them out. So this is quite a very big herd. So I'm sure because of the size of the herd, they can be able to cover a very big area. So if Hosanna is here, he doesn't have a chance. He just got to come out. You can see elephants are very much peaceful animals. It's just that when they've got babies and when they've got injuries and when the males are on mast is when they can be very much aggressive. But normally, they're just peaceful animals. Yeah, no, it is true. There is quite a lot of elephants this afternoon everywhere. Oh, these ones are fighting. Look at that. So you can see them now trying by all means to challenge each other's strength. So if you can check the size of these elephants who are pushing each other, it's more or less the same age. So the teenagers, this is what they like the most. So you can see that the one has got quite a lot of force, the one which is on this side. Look at that. So the tusks are very much important and they use them as well for fighting. So let's see what these two are up to. Oh, now they want to drink. Look at that. So there is quite a lot of water collected by that pothole, and they created that pothole, elephants themselves. Look now, let's see what that one is doing. The water is not easily accessible, so it's now on his knees. Look at that. On his knees trying to have something to drink. So that was a very nice positioning. So now again they are going to push each other. Can even hear the tusks. So those tusks are not the canines. These are the incisors They are just coming straight out, and they are also covered by the same kind of material covering our tooth, which is the enamel. Now I think these ones are just playing. So you can see that again they're going down, the other one is even going deep. Normally elephants, after drinking, they like to do the mud wallowing. Maybe these two are going to demonstrate that. You can see they're starting to go in. So they can be able to drink. A child of the universe, I can say these are still teenagers. So that's why you can see they've got all these powers in order to push each other a lot. So this elephants is a group of elephants which did not drink water by the Galago pen. They've just gone past there and they didn't touch the water at all. So but now look at what they're doing. They're just drinking by the porthole. So let's see what they're thinking now. I think they're about to finish now as the other one is pulling out. Kerry, unfortunately the baby elephants, when they are still very new, they cannot walk long distances. The activities and the movements of the adults are very much restricted because of the age of these little ones. So if they've got babies in this area, it means we're going to find them again tomorrow and after that. So they're going to begin playing again. Look at that. That other one, he doesn't want to wake up. Look at that. On his knees. The other one is trying to push him. So these elephants, they are enjoying themselves. I can see that this front leg was sleeping at the moment. It's very slippery where they are. Now it's time for them to play with these waters. So the elephants are amongst those animals which can be able to regurgitate water. So they've got a special spharengia pouch here on the lower, just after the lower jaw by the throat. They've got a place where they are keeping water for quite a long distance. So some of them, they do lose their task when they're pushing each other like this. So now the one facing this side is looking now, showing some sign of submission. Maybe that one has got the running stomach, because I can see those droppings, they are very much soft. And see this one as well, when it's standing with those two, the size is more or less the same. And this other one is also interested to come and join these two. So let's see what's going to happen here. This is this is a lovely sighting. So you can see now that the two, they are just now erecting their copulatory organs. Maybe they want to imitate the hyenas' ceremonial greetings with their trunks. Oh, the other one is going there to swim now. Look at how he's lying down there against that. You can see this one is going to do some mud wallowing. So it's deep a little bit there where these animals are drinking. You can see this one wants to go in there. So the elephants, sometimes they do get stuck by this kind of potholes they dig. When it's too soft, they go in there to do mud wallowing, get stuck and call others to come and assist. So now let's cross over back to Steve and see how he's doing.
Thanks, sitters. We're doing just splendidly. I'm just going to move a branch out of the road that no doubt an elephant has pushed. Rather than just driving over it. That wasn't so hard, was it? Elephants are destructive in their own right, but well, as we know, they are very important for the ecosystem out here. These, oh, and I've got a branch stuck in my wheel. Forgive me while I just dislodge this quickly. There we go. Covering our tracks as we went there. We're right on the boundary now on the southern side. A road very few people travel along. Having a look to see if any tracks are coming in. I've just got this sort of tingling feeling of the Duke of Djuma, who is being the territorial and dominant male of the area. RSS, I must admit I haven't been working out as much as I'd like to, so it's been too hot, way too hot. But after some rainfall, the territorial animals will generally move around their territory. And well, Tingana hasn't been seen in a few days. Sorry, Senzo. Hasn't been seen in a few days, but with this rainfall that has come down, he will be back. He will have to re-scent mark his territory. Otherwise, leopards like the infamous Hukumuri and the like will be moving in to claim something that has not been reclaimed. Because essentially, the scent marking that these animals do is washed away with the rain. The rain takes away the dust, removes all the smells, and so territorial animals need to reclaim or rescent. Otherwise, they basically just leave it open to interlopers. So he will be around. He does have a really large territory. I still can't really grasp it all because we don't get access to all the areas that he moves into. Cal6, I haven't heard Tingana soar since I've been back, to be honest with you. I spent a very brief amount of time with him the other day, and he didn't call. He sprayed and scent marked, but didn't do one of those. But it's a lovely feeling when you hear a leopard do that. Goes straight through your body. It really is quite delightful. It's one of our favorite sounds, that with a lion calling in the bush is something that really makes you feel that you are really out in nature. Can't imagine what our ancestors felt like when they were trying to hide away in a cave and you just suddenly hear the lions calling. They're quite frightening, I think. Quite frightening indeed to know that there's these marauding predators outside that would quite like to enjoy your flesh. Don't you think, Sens? Senso's got his eyes wide open. Child of the universe, I am not sure, but let me get you a little. Where's my map? My map is it with me today? I don't think it is with me today. I'm sorry, child of the universe, but he basically goes all the way into Djuma, covers the whole Djuma, goes north into to Buffelshoek, around through Torchwood, takes up some of Chitwa, some of Little Gowrie below us, and then comes back again. We don't have access to most of those areas, so I really can't tell you the extent of it. But Rexon was telling me, giving me a brief idea of what it is one day. He's one of the guides who works at Djuma, who moves around quite a lot, and that the borders are definitely bigger than they've ever been, or as big as they've been. But it would be lovely to be able to document that and to research somehow and to follow him on his weekly patrol and to get all the ins and outs of exactly how many more inches he's taking each time he does it, or how many inches are being taken from him. I haven't seen another male leopard on the property apart from Hosana in so long. Shannon, yes, the sawing is definitely a vibration that happens. There's almost like not a perforated, but a membrane within inside the lung, around the lung and the chest area, almost like a vocal cord boom box, and that basically resonates. And with the lion it resonates, the leopard resonates at a different level, and jaguars, I believe, are quite similar, and that is what gets them the genus name Panthera, is because of their ability to roar. So it's a much different sound to most other sounds that we're familiar with. It's an adaptation sort of around their voice box to turn it into a big muscle, a big sort of amplifier. And each one is designed differently. And the lions, having much bigger territories, cover much bigger distances, and the leopard, having a smaller territory, cover a little bit less of a distance. So, but you feel it in your bones when it's next to you. Lions go straight through you. Leopards as well, not as powerful, but very, very impressive nonetheless. So I've got a feeling about Tingana today. I don't know why. Colleen, that is the discussion that has been ranging this whole year. Everybody would like to know whether Hosana would take over if something happened to Tingana. And, you know, as much as I'd like to say yes, I doubt it would happen. He's not big enough and strong enough. As soon as Tingana stops scent marking and calling, this area becomes vacant, like what happened with the Birmingham boys. They moved down south because the area became vacant, and well, the gap was filled by other males that moved in. Males that are fighting fit, breeding fit, and ready to go. Hosana, as much as we love him and as much he is growing, he's still a young cat. He's still got another year at least before he's going to be physically strong enough to claim this as his own. And from a genetic point of view, it's not ideal for him to stay behind and mate with his sisters, with his cousins. Ideally, he needs to move off in search of greener pastures, although I will hate to see him go. But he is not big enough and dominant enough yet. If he stands down Tingana and starts really competing with the Duke in that regard, then we might try and rethink that. But he just gives way immediately to his aging pops. Immediately. So which means he's not even nearly standing his ground. So leopards first need to be able to stand their ground, and then they need to be able to fight. So there's the big difference. So this is an area where many times I've just mysteriously popped onto Tingana. Maybe we will find him, but in the darkness of the Mara, David is in the spotlight.
Steve, talking of sawing of leopards, I might be talking of roaring of lions, and to me the roaring of lions is more, it's more big, or it's more of a bigger thing here in the Mara than sawing leopards that you hear a lot in Djuma. And when lions roar, they can go such a long distance, and they can always sometimes go up to 10 kilometers. So what you do once in a while, we'll always drive on these roads and just go switch off the car, switch off the engine, and switch off the lights. When you keep looking for them and you do not see them, when you do all that, there's always a chance that you might hear them roaring, and that will help you to go the direction they are. Not that I've seen any at the moment or had any. So what I'm doing, I want to go by the same two lions I saw this early this afternoon, which I thought was a mother and a youngster male, and find out if they're still where they were. sometimes they tend not to move very far. And I'm talking of the Olololo pride, and those are just 2 of that whole pride, which normally consists of 16. And as I was leaving the 2, I did not see the other 14, but I'm guessing they are not very far from there. So I'm going to go find out if they have reunited or if those 2 are still where I left them. In the meantime, I'll be looking for anything nocturnal tonight. Linda, there are a few differences of the lions here, but I have noticed size, behavior, gestation period, hunting, everything is more or less the same. Territory is the same, but of course the Mara has a much bigger territory. And I would say the only one thing I'm trying to say could be a huge difference between the territories, between the lions here, Linda, and the lions in Juma. There are either 2 particular prides in Juma that got mange, and I'm sure you've been following. And I think one of them is the Sticks, and there's another pride, I can't remember the name. And also that other pride got mange, Linda. And the lions here in the Mara, like in the Mara Triangle precisely, we got about 11 prides, 11 different prides of lions here. Not one of them that I know has mange, not even one individual in the pride that I've seen having mange. So maybe that could be the only difference, I would say, between the prides here and the prides in Juma. Of course, the other difference is in terms of hunting, like during the migration, we don't have migration in Juma or anywhere in Kruger National Park. We get to see loads of wildebeest coming around here, and when they are here, of course, the lions will tend to be dealing with the wildebeest and the zebras and nothing else. In Juma, out of my experience, I think the lions will tend to be dealing more with buffaloes. For example, the pride called the Nukuhumas. Avoca males the same. And I think that's the most dominant prey in Juma. So Linda, I would say those could be the only, the few differences between the lions here in terms of where territories and behavior and differences in price in terms, for example, as I said, on infection of a disease like mange. I can't remember the one time I saw any pride of lions in East Africa, not only Kenya, including Tanzania, that had mange. The good news is the lions will always come out of it at one point. It's a very contagious disease. Once you get one individual in the pride getting it, it spreads very quickly. Very, very good. So, what am I thinking of now? I'm thinking of either a scrub hare, I'm thinking of either a Niger, which we'll always see on the road, like this time around. Not sure why we don't see rabbits. We tend to see scrub hares than rabbits, or even elephants, which could be close by the road. Before I get to those 2 lions that I left earlier of the Olololo pride, and hopefully I might see the whole pride together, which will be quite exciting. The last few weeks we have been seeing them trying to split and go into different directions, but of course 16 is a big number, and I'll not be surprised as the boys get bigger, because there's 7 youngsters, there are 7 young males. As they get older, I got a feeling they might soon be leaving the pride to form their own coalition. And if the 7 of them can go together, you're very welcome, Linda. I'm happy that, I hope you enjoyed my answer. And thank you always, Linda, for watching. And yes, so if those 7 youngster males are going to leave that pride and they form a coalition, that would be a formidable deal with around this area. The biggest coalition are 4 males that we call the 4 musketeers. And let's hear what Steve got to tell us now in South Africa.
Thanks, David. Well, the rains are slowly just pitter-pattering down. We've got all the covers down now. Just a little bit wet outside, but it is wonderful. I do hope that we get a proper rain, just softly soaks into the soil over the next day or two. I know it's going to influence our game drives, but we desperately need the rainfall. Desperately. Left or right, left or right, left. I'm thinking left, hey, Sens? What are you thinking? But in saying that, lots of zebra running. Zebra tracks running here. What are you running from, chaps? You never know. The ecosystem is open. It is wild. Anything could be around the corner. And I'm sure Sydney's updated you to the two evoker males, I think, north of the boundary, unfortunately. But where there are lions, there are sometimes more lions. And well, I'm just getting the feeling of an Unkuhuma investigation. There's a feeling of Unkuhumas on the western boundary. I mean, there's still a Tingana tingling in my belly. But we'll keep checking. Keep checking the usual spots. This road is Philemon's cut line that runs straight through the middle to the western side. A very familiar route for not only Tingana, but also for the Unkuhuma pride, who quite often come straight along this road and straight out into Buffelshoek, using Djuma as just a small stepping stone. And well, we know when there are zebra and wildebeest around, the Unkuhumas are here. We haven't seen many wildebeest or many zebra in the last little while. Giraffe girl, I'm going to find you something for sure. Just going to try to show you the tracks over here. Don't know if you're going to be able to see it very clearly, Sens. Over my shoulder there. There we go, you can see. This is the, let me just turn this down. There is a running hoof of a zebra. Another one, running that direction. There's quite a few of them along the road here. It's possible that they've been chased. It's possible that they were just running in the rainfall. Really hard to say, but when it is windy like this, animals do get quite skittish and quite jumpy. So when we have zebra on the property and wildebeest, well, the Unkuhumas often follow them. Obviously they like the buffalo as well. I haven't seen any buffalo since I've been back. Where they've moved to, probably off to greener pastures where the soil is tastier and more nutrient rich towards the east. The basalts and gabbros that side, like similar to that of the Mara system, where, as David was discussing earlier, it gets very, very difficult to access when it's wet because of those thick black cotton soils. Here the rain just filters straight through these very sandy granitic soils and seemingly doesn't even sit on the surface. Well, that is the difference. One of the major differences between the areas is obviously soil type, and soil type leads to habitat, and habitat leads to availability of game, of course. That's why we have such an abundance of leopards here, because there's such an abundance of thicket specialists such as the duiker, lots of scrub hares, and the edge specialists themselves, the impala, which are in abundance in around. Oh my word. Well, it sounds like Sydney has found something this evening. I have no idea who, what or where, but let's go and see what he's got.
I have got something very, very much interesting, something you haven't seen for quite a long time. I'm sure this is part of the avocas. So it's two of them. One is now deep in the bushes, and maybe he's going to come back at any time. Look at that. Look at that very beautiful mane. So they rule these areas, the avocas. So this is quite a very beautiful sighting. So I can see this one is now attempting to roar. It's looking at one of the brothers who might be walking somewhere by the left side. They are not very far away from the Buffalo's Hook Dam, and they were just in Buffalo's Hook all day long. They just came out now. Thank you very, very much for all the positive comments about finding these lions. It was not easy. You can hear that is roaring. Oh, the other one is coming. The other one is also coming at the back. So it's just that they are not close to each other, they are far apart. But at the back there on the road you can see, apologies for those vehicles. I'm not alone at the sighting at the moment. So you can see that the brother is coming. He was calling the brother. So you can see this mane, when it's too hot, the mane also exaggerate the heat. But the main purpose of this mane is to cover the neck when these lions are fighting for territorial purposes. So also to exaggerate the body size in order to scare the intruders. Oh, the brother decided to go and lie down next to the road. The last time we have seen the Unkuhumas, it was a few days ago, and it was around Chitwa. Maybe they're just about 3 kilometers away from a group splitted from Unkuhuma, and the other two we saw maybe it's about 4 or 5 kilometers. So look at that. So this very majestic and beautiful lion is just about to cross. This is amazing. What a great sighting. You can see he's just standing right here and not worried about our presence at all. He's busy investigating what he's investigating. Just from the air particles, he knows what he's looking for. Lorena, animals, they do what is called a reciprocal grooming. So every time when together with the other coalition members, they do groom each other. Also, lions by the pride, they do the same. Apologies for the poles from the roof, as I saw that, oh, this one is also lying down just here. Maybe they've got a mission. Kath, this is amazing. I can promise you, when this kind of a majestic and magnificent cat is looking at you, you just feel that you are in Africa. It's not scary at all, especially if you are in the bush every time. I'm not sure in terms of the age of these lions, the Unkuhumas. So I'm going to have to check about the age of these Unkuhumas. I will just visit some of my documents. When I come back again, I will be the Avokas. I will be telling you their age. So they are looking very much healthy and they are growing very big. One of them, we saw him last week. He was not part of these two. He was just all by himself. It's a coalition of 3 members. Maybe they're spotting something, because I can see that this one is fascinated by something much more that side. So this kind of hairs, the mane, they start to grow when they're about 2 years and above. So you can see these are very healthy males. Nice and clean and no mange. Yeah, they are still looking very young compared to the Birmingham boys. That is true. Listen to that. He was just trying to roar, but it was a little bit. So that was a very soft roar. So the lion's roar, the full roar can travel up to approximately 5 to 10 kilometers. That is very low. So look, now we have got the brother coming down. So you can see that he's just walking down in slow motion. Look at those front legs and those muzzles. Look at that. Apologies for the pole. You can see these are very much big cats. You can see the gap between the head and the tail, end of the tail, that this is quite an incredible big cat. So you can see that now they are again moving further. Yeah, the one we have just seen now, the mane is much more darker. So as they are getting old, the mane also starts to get darker. You can see them now on a convoy going down. I am not too sure which one, but I can promise you that the one with the black mane is the one who must be much more dominant. But one of them, who I have seen before, one of them is the one who is doing quite a lot of mating in the area, the one which is not here. So these two, they are also moving around the area, an opportunity, but there is one dominant male for Avokas who does visit quite a lot of different females in the area. So now I just want to move forward and see if we can see them again. So now while I'm going to, let's quickly cross over to the Masai Mara where David is waiting.
Well, I'm doing anything I can to see whether I can retract those lions that I saw before, and they must have moved because this is the area I left them before. But at the moment, they seem to have gone. They could, have changed locations for a few reasons. Number one, to go look for food or to go have a drink, or even maybe going to look for a little bit warmer place. So what I want to do, I want to go a little down here, switch off the car, and switch off all the lights, and I'm sure all of us can see and can hear the darkness that I am in. Without all this artificial light and my spotlight. So we're going to switch off here for a minute and we're going to listen to what's happening out here. And we're going to be able to switch off that light a little for me behind there and see how dark it can be. So you see all that is not a storm, it's the dust that is being blown by the wind. And it's all black and white because we're in infrared. And what a good feeling. And over here are cicadas out there, frogs out there, nightjars out there, and all the nocturnal animals you'd think of that could be out at the moment. We rarely get those like hurricanes that you see in other parts of the world here, but when it gets very windy, you'll see soil or some dust being blown from the ground, and that's what you see there. And that's the kind of darkness I am in. That's the farthest I can see. Anything beyond there, I'll not be able to see it with the naked eyes. Patricia, excuse me, Patricia, very good question. With such strong lightning you've been saying, do we ever get tornadoes? Not in Africa, Patricia, and I would say in Africa, we have not had or seen tornadoes, not that I know of, not like what we see in North America and like tsunami and other parts of the world. And the biggest thing we get here will just be strong winds and some very heavy rainfall, like the equivalent of El Nino or La Nina. But tornadoes, not that I know of in Africa. The times you get winds that will blow, roofs of homes away, but nothing to the magnitude of what tornadoes are made of. Well, it's time to put my lights back again and I get my spotlight, switch on my car and be out on the road to see what I would be able to see. That was ideally just giving you an idea of what we are in at the moment. And we get always little surprises when we get animals coming out to greet us on the big road. Very good, very good. So those lions, again, as I said, they could have gone for a drink, they could have gone looking for some food elsewhere. I'll go to continue. But in the meantime, I'll take you back to Stivovo.
Thanks, Gigi. We need to get you a little magic guari branch. Works for good luck. Apparently the Rus natalensis or the Circe natalensis that grows up there right next to camp is actually a good luck charm. So maybe we should get you some as well on the vehicle. We all drive around with our good luck charms and see how we do. So we are working now on a last minute cat. Well done, sitters, for getting some lions in the north. Fantastic, 2 Avoca boys. I have not seen them for ages. We hear them all the time, but it's been a long time since I've seen them. Even when I was here, it had been the time. They weren't really coming into Djuma. But in saying that, I did see one male a couple of days ago, so I think I'm losing my mind. It's not that hot, but the mind is now cooling off so much that it's over-expiring. So one male the other day, but I'd love to see all 3 boys together to see how they've all developed and how they're growing. But they definitely seem to have claimed Buffelshoek for their own. Luke is saying they're looking healthy. Lots of buffalo up in the north, lots of water up there. We haven't seen any buffalo this side. So as I said, the Unkuhumas and the Avokas just passed through. Okay, well, one last effort down this road, slowly making our way back to camp. This junction we just turned at is a junction we often have the tracks of the Unkuhuma coming through, Tingana as well as Tingana moving through, so who knows what we might find around the corner, but it seems as if Sidders has managed to catch up with the Avoca males.
Or must I go in? So I am right here trying to see the brother who is now coming. Just you can see there is some artificial lights from some of the vehicles. Don't get surprised. You can see now that the brother is coming. So he's coming to say good evening to us, as I can see that he's right coming straight to us. So this is the one with the dark mane. And I'm sure in terms of the strength, he must be much more stronger than the small one. What we are hearing now is a warning call given by the impalas who are just about a few meters away from here where we are. You can see that one is now looking at the impalas. It's trying to look at the impalas. Oh, also that one wants to sleep. Yeah, this is awesome. Magic dragon wizard. This is so beautiful. You can see they are very much relaxed, not worried at all about anything. So the coalitions, they also go back and join this prize. Whenever the females are on heat, they go back again and reintroduce themselves and reunite a little bit. After mating again, they will come back and form their coalitions. So the lions are the only cats which has got two completely different social structures, which is the pride as well as the coalition. Take care. I am not too sure what exactly the word avoca, which is the name of the pride, means. But what I have seen in this area is that some of the prides are named according to their origin. There must be maybe an area which is called an avoca game reserve, which is where the name maybe is coming from. That is just my thinking on this. So you can see that the impalas distracted these lions as they were on their move to somewhere, and after the impalas gave the warning calls, they decided to lie down. Maybe they are looking for some dinner. So the wind is on their favor at the moment. You can see that other one. Yeah, these kind of animals, if you check on the back of their front legs, they've got hairs as well, because they also, when they're lying down, they do go down like on the elbows. And sometimes right here, next to the elbows, on the very same front legs, you'll see them also having some of the whiskers, which are the sense organs to assist them at night. You can see the one in front is trying to pick up some of the information from the air particles. You can see every time he's moving the head up, and you can see the nose there, trying to sniff information from the air. By doing that, they are going to know who is in the area. Now that it rained during the day and it's drizzling now, I'm sure they can be able to pick up a lot of scent from different species of animals. They can recognize them while they're just sitting there. So when a coalition is like this, for their survival, what do? Yes, the females, they are very much popular in terms of the conduction of their hunting activities. Also the male lions, when they are just by themselves like this, they do take down some animals sometimes. But as well, in a pride, if they are big males, when need be, when taking down a big animal such as the buffaloes, they also do get involved. Minamu, unfortunately, they don't shade these hairs. If they shade the hairs, they are going to look smaller. And now, the exaggeration of the body is not going to work anymore. Because when this lion is standing and the intruder or the rival is coming, when looking at that body size, they think, hey, this is a very dangerous lion and he is going to break me into pieces. That is what that mane is for. It's one of the reasons why they grow this very big male. Maine. He was just yawning now. Yawning is very much contagious, so the other one might also now start yawning. It has been a great afternoon, coupled with quite a lot of lovely sighting all the way from the Masai Mara, where we have seen quite a lot of animals with David, and down here by the western side of the Greater Kruger National Park. And thank you very, very much for your questions and comments.